Hi, I'm Zeta Cedillo, and I am a golfer at SFA. Chapter 8. Where did Carletta go? Last day, last day. The words pop into Gavin's head as soon as he opens his eyes up. Wait, I'm sorry. I just realized I read. Yeah, because I read that. I read the sentence so wrong. Okay. Okay. Chapter 8. Where did Carletta go? Last day, last day. The words pop into Gavin's head as soon as his eyes open. He listens to the morning sounds downstairs. Carletta's doing her usual yapping from behind the child's gate that keeps her on the back porch. Aunt Myrtle is shuffling down the stairs to the kitchen. Gavin thinks that's a wonderful sound because it reminds him of the Uncle Vester returns tomorrow and it's going to be bye-bye Carletta, bye-bye Aunt Myrtle, and bye-bye picking up dog poop. Gavin bounds down the stairs, sniffing the air for the scent of French toast. His mother always fixes French toast on Fridays, as a sort of a celebration of coming home that weekend. Sure enough, his mom is just putting a stack of French toast on the table. His father is behind his newspaper, and Aunt Myrtle is sitting across from him, sipping her tea. Danielle is sitting in her usual seat, sneaking looks at her phone on her lap. Should he tell on her? Nah. He feels too good about it being Friday and his last day of having to deal with Carletta. Good morning, Gavin says as he takes his seat, trying not to sound too happy. Good morning, sweetie, his mom replies, dishing 2 pieces of French toast on his plate. Morning, his father says from behind his paper. Daniel rolls her eyes. He's not surprised. Aunt Myrtle blows on her tea. Good morning, Gavin. I think this must be payday. As soon as you walk Carletta this afternoon, that is. Gavin looks over at the dog. Last day, horrible little doggy, he thinks. He takes a big bite of French toast. On the way to school, Richard notices his good mood. You've been whistling since you turned the corner. How come? This is my last day walking Carletta, and it's Friday. There's no homework on Fridays. I get to stay up an extra hour on Fridays. We have spelling tests on Fridays, and I always get 100%. Okay, Richard says. I get it. When do you get paid? After I walk Carletta one last time. Good. Even I can't wait. There's one little thing I might be worried about today, though. What? I hope Harper is still benched. When Miss Shelby Ortiz leads the class out for recess, Gavin is almost afraid to look over at the benched kids. He takes a quick peek. There's Harper, sitting facing the yard, all sprawled out, the backs of his elbows resting on the table behind him. Gavin can't see his face, but imagines his lip curled in anger. He looks away quickly, afraid that Harper might catch him staring. He's benched, Richard whispers behind him, lightening up. Lunchtime presents more opportunities to run into Harper. Room 10's lunch table is 3 tables behind the one assigned to Harper's class. Gavin sits down and sets his lunch, a sandwich, chips, and an apple, before him, but doesn't feel hungry. Can I have those chips? Richard asks. Gavin doesn't answer. He's busy looking at Harper's mean face as he sits hunched at his table eating chocolate chip cookies. He's even eating the cookies in a hostile way, breaking off little chunks, popping them into his mouth, and chomping on them with a sneer. At one point, he looks up and glares at Gavin. Gavin looks down quickly and busies himself with his own lunch. I'm telling you, he gave me a real dirty look, Gavin says to Richard on their way to the handball court. So what? Richard says. He's benched. He can't do anything to you even if he wanted to. Gavin sneaks a quick peek over at the benched kids. Harper sits in the middle of the group, his chin on his hand and his elbow on his knee, still with the mean look on his face, saved by the bench, Gavin thinks. He almost manages to get through the day without seeing Harper again. But then, after PE, Mrs. Shelby Ortiz has the boys and girls line up at the boys and girls restroom, as usual. She lets 3 boys and 3 girls go in at a time. As soon as Gavin enters with Carlos and Jose, he runs into Harper. His hall pass is on the sink in front of him. He is wetting bits of balled paper towels, then throwing them up at the ceiling where they stick. He's so busy breaking a school rule that he doesn't even notice Gavin. Gavin immediately makes a U-turn and exits the restroom, his heart beating fast, even though he really has to go. What a close call. Miss Shelby Ortiz, he says as soon as they get back to the class and he's seated. Hadn't even raised his hand and waited to be recognized. May I go to the bathroom? What? She answers. Didn't you just go to the restroom? There must be something about the panic in his face that makes her say, all right, get going. He jumps up and practically runs out of the classroom. When the dismissal bell rings, Gavin feels as if he's been dodging danger all day. I have to walk Carletta, but since there's no homework, let's meet at the skate park later. I'm sure I can get permission, Gavin says to Richard as they hurry down Marin on their new route from school. They part at Fulton. Gavin is anxious to get the last walk with Carletta over and done with. Maybe, since it's his last time walking her, Aunt Myrtle will let him have his snack first. He decides he will propose this to her, but when Aunt Myrtle opens the door, he seems frantic. She steps out onto the porch and looks up and down the street. Have you seen Carletta? No, Gavin says slowly. He looks past Aunt Myrtle down the hall, expecting to hear Carletta's toenails clicking on the floor. But Carletta is nowhere to be seen. Aunt Myrtle steps around Gavin and ventures down the porch steps. She reaches the sidewalk and walks a few feet in one direction and then the other, shielding her eyes as she peers up and down the street. I just put her out in the yard for a bit, and when I came out to get her, Aunt Myrtle pats her chest as if overcome. She was gone. There's a spot where she must have dug herself out under the fence. I don't even know why she would do this. I don't know. Aunt Myrtle's voice trails off, but then she adds, and she doesn't have her collar on. I'd taken it off because it was causing a little irritation. I couldn't find her other one. Her voice trails off again, and she turns and climbs the steps to go back into the house. Gavin follows, not knowing what to think. Does this mean he can go into the kitchen and make his special snack? Then his mother comes down the stairs. Sweetie, did you see Carletta? Maybe down the street somewhere while you were walking home? No, I haven't seen her anywhere. She looks over at Aunt Myrtle, who was collapsed into the chair in the living room and is fanning herself with a folded paper. Can you go out and look around for a little bit for her? Gavin thinks longingly of his snack. It looks like he won't be heading for the kitchen to make it after all. Again. Don't go past Marin or the park, his mother adds, stepping out onto the porch to look up and down the street herself. As soon as he starts up the block, Gavin begins to feel funny. Carletta is out there somewhere, and a tiny pinprick of worry tickles him. He walks towards Marin, listening for sounds of distant barking. Not deep barking, but Carletta's particular little yap-yap bark. He hears nothing. The empty streets make it seem as if she simply disappeared. Maybe she's been dog-napped, he thinks as he hurries down the street, or maybe Richard's seen Carletta. When he reaches the skate park, Richard is busy practicing his flat ground ollie on the cinder block ledge. Gavin stands at the chain-link fence and watches him approach the block and then chicken out at the last minute. He tries again, this time he gets the front of the board up, but then lets it plop back down. Luckily, no one's waiting to use the sledge. Richard, Gavin calls before he can make his next attempt. Richard whips around, looking surprised. I thought you couldn't come until after you walked that dog. He moves to the fence with his skateboard in his hand, looking puzzled. Where's your skateboard? Have you seen Carletta? Gavin asks, already having a pretty good idea of what Richard's going to say. No. Why? She's missing. Missing? My aunt put her in the backyard, and she dug a hole under the fence and got out. Why'd she do that? Richard asked. How am I supposed to know? It's a dog thing. Dogs like to dig holes, and they like to get out of their yards, Gavin shrugs. Richard nods slowly, as if that makes sense to him. Want me to help you look? Yeah, Gavin says, but my mom doesn't want me to go past Marin. Well, what if she went all the way to that big street with the tire shop, or maybe over to the pet store where we got that toy? I don't know, Gavin says. My mom will probably get my father to look around these places when he gets home from work. Together they begin to call out Carletta's name as they start toward Marin. Carletta! Carletta! People stop what they're doing for a moment to take in the fact that someone or someone's pet has gotten lost. The mailman waves, and the guy from SNL nursery looks up from the watering a row of ficus trees. Two girls stop jumping double dutch on the walkway in front of the house next to the nursery. One of them walks over to Richard and Gavin. Who's Carletta? She says. Gavin recognizes her from one of the other third grades at Carver Elementary. Her friend comes over to. Yeah, who's Carletta? Her friend repeats. My aunt's dog got out of the yard and ran away, Gavin explains. Have you seen a stray dog? What's she look like? The taller girl asks, biting her thumbnail. Gavin doesn't have much hope she'll be helpful. But before he can answer, Richards pipes up with, she's one of those funny looking kind of dogs, kind of small, ugly looking fur. Gavin surprises himself. He's growing annoyed by this description of Carletta. For some reason, he feels the need to stick up for her. She's not all that funny looking. He interrupts. You guys know what a Pomeranian looks like? A what Iranian? The shorter girl asks. She laughs at her own joke, then her friend joins in. Gavin was right. He knew they wouldn't be helpful. He's ready to move on. Never mind. Come on, let's go, he says to Richard. They cover the rest of Marin as far as the park, then go down by Ashby toward Richard's house on Fulton, where they part. Then it's back home. Gavin mothers meet up with him at the door with questions before he can even step in. Apparently, she sent Danielle out on a search for Carletta as well. Aunt Myrtle is now nowhere to be seen. I told Aunt Myrtle to go upstairs and lie down, his mom explains. Your dad is out in his car looking too. Can I make a snack? Gavin asks. Now he's really hungry. Yeah, go get your snack, his mother says as if her mind is on something else. Gavin hurries into the kitchen before his mother can change her mind. He takes a jar of grape jelly out of the refrigerator, unscrews the lid, and inhales deeply. What an awesome smell, he thinks. He gets a plate out of the cabinet, takes down the box of wheat crackers, gets a knife, and goes to work. On the plate are 5 crackers spread with purple jelly. Before he carries his snack to the kitchen, he pops one in his mouth. Delicious, he thinks. He pops another one in his mouth. At that point, there is nothing tastier in the world. Dinner is quiet, and Myrtle has come down from the guest room, but she says very little, and the worried crease never leaves her brow. She gives Gavin's dad the picture of Carletta that she usually keeps in a frame on the nightstand by her bed. Gavin's dad plans to make flyers with a picture of them to post all over the neighborhood. But for now, Aunt Myrtle just sits there, staring at her green beans, lamb chops, and mashed potatoes. Aunt Myrtle, why don't you try to eat a little something? Gavin's mom suggests. I can't, Aunt Myrtle says. I don't have an appetite. Your Uncle Vester is going to be sick with the worry. Carletta's his dog too. She sighs and shakes her head. Gavin wonders if Uncle Vester knows already, or if he'll find out when he returns this morning. I'm just going to go back upstairs and lie down. Aunt Myrtle pushes back her chair. Everyone is silent as they watch her shuffle off. We've got to find Carletta, Gavin's mother says once Aunt Myrtle is out of the earshot. I don't know what's going to happen if we don't find that dog. I'll make flyers tonight, then we'll post them in as many places as we can in the morning, his dad says. On Saturday morning, Aunt Myrtle mopes about while the rest of them eat a quick breakfast. As soon as they finish, Gavin's dad hands stacks of flyers to Danielle and Gavin to take the shops in Myron and Ashby. He's got the big staple gun in his hand. He'll be posting flyers on the telephone poles all around the neighborhood. The strange thing is that Gavin didn't sleep well the night before. He kept waking up worried about Carletta. What if that silly dog thought she could beat up the big dog they encountered the first day he walked her? What if she got in the dog yards, thinking she could take him on? Do dogs do these kind of things? What if she was hungry or thirsty? He worried that he hadn't yet exchanged the real Choo-Choo for the fake one. What if she never got to be reunited with the toy she loved so much? His shoulders slumped. So much to worry about. You take Marin, Danielle orders. I'll take Ashby. Why do I have to take Marin? Gavin asks, not knowing why he's asking that. He doesn't really trust his sister. Maybe she has some kind of trick plan. Fine, Bozo. I'll take Marin and you can take Ashby, Danielle shrugs. You're such a dork. Gavin goes to Babe's barbecue first. There's no one inside, Mr. Olive. Who is Babe? He must have thought it was a catchy name. Is hosing down in the front walkway. Mr. Olive, have you seen this dog? Mr. Olive looks at the flyer in Gavin's hand. He studies it. Can't say that I have, he answers. Could you put this poster in your store window? Sure, put it on the counter. Gavin goes to the Global Tire and Brakes, Perfect Beauty Hair Salon, and Nail Imperium, in the resale shop. Everyone at the stores on Ashby is sympathetic. They must see the worry in his eyes. They look at the poster, shake their heads, and then promise to put up the flyer in their windows. Gavin is hot and thirsty. By the time he finishes with Ashby, he decides to go by Richard's house on his way home. Sees what he's up to. Maybe get something to drink?